Hey everybody, Jerry Williams, aka Greater Sapien here. Thanks for stopping by. Now, I'm going to take a break from ranting about politics and science and just talk to the Severance fans watching. Hey, what's up, people? Today I'm breaking down Season 2, Episode 3 of Severance, Who is Alive? I'm going to get right into it because this show is not pausing to take a breath at all. Spoilers ahead for the episode, everybody. After the recap, we open pretty much right after the last episode. Cobel is sleeping in her little Volkswagen Rabbit, wakes up, looks at something in the back seat, steals herself, and drives on. Now, I thought we might not see her this episode to make us wonder when she was going to drop back in like a bomb, but she is still very much in the mix, apparently. Then we cut to Audi Mark getting ready and heading to work. He's got a different energy to him as he moves about, and the editing of the scene is more rapid fire. It's like a different show in this scene. He's timing himself as he leaves the car, and he's moving out at a real rapid pace like we've never seen him before, hauling ass as he goes into the building. He's a little impatient. He times himself all the way into the elevator. We then have the opening credit sequence where this time I noticed that the final zoom in on Helly at the elevator switches back and forth between her and Gemma for a second. For a while there, I thought it was Helena, but I did a quick pause and I can see that it's actually switching between Helly and Gemma in that elevator. Interesting. In the office, Mark has printed out images of Miss Casey and is sending out teams to other departments to inquire whether or not they've seen her and what they know about her. Dylan isn't participating, and he says he has work to do and says he'll catch up a little later. Now, we have to wonder if Dylan is not participating because he doesn't want to get on the bad side of Lumen and somehow not get the perk that he's been promised, or is it that he wants to work extra hard so he's ensured of getting that perk? We don't know. The end result is the same, and he's not helping his friends find out. Helly comforts Irving, who is going to go back to the O&D department for the first time. This is another circumstance where I don't trust Helly because, for one, I don't think I've seen her be physical with anyone like she is with Irving here, where she touches his hand. That doesn't seem like a common Helly thing. And as much as I'd like this to be Helly R, the show is doing everything it can to make me not trust her. And looking back on previous episodes, in episode 1, she fumbled when turning on her computer. And when everyone got on their elevators in episode 2, we heard the elevator ding when they got in, and then ding when the door closed. But for her, we heard it ding when she got in, and it didn't ding after the door closed. It could be a red herring, but I think she actually does not go through the switchover process when she comes downstairs. As Mark and Helly go looking for the goat people, Milch comes to work, where he's met by Natalie and the board of directors on speaker. To show their appreciation for him, they give him images of Kier that have been turned into a black man who looks like him throughout the ages. Something they call recanonicalized paintings to help him see himself in Kier, the founder. This cult is so weird. Milch is truly taken aback by this. One of my favorite things about the performance of the actress who plays Natalie is how she acts when the board of directors is no longer talking in her ear. There's a physical discomfort that she shows while at the same time keeping a pleasant expression on her face. There's a whole lot going on there, and it's great. Cutting back to Miss Cobel, driving, she stopped before a road sign of a city or a place named Salt's Neck, 238 kilometers away. She looks down and sees the breathing tube next to her, and it affects her in a way that makes her turn the car around and go back. We don't know what the significance of that breathing tube is or its connection to Salt Neck, and maybe we never will. But there's something there that tells her that her work isn't done. Mark and Helly find the goat people, led by Gwendolyn Christie, who wonders if they are there to kill her. A distrust of other departments seems to be an ongoing theme. They ask about Miss Casey, and the goat woman is hesitant to help them, though she obviously recognizes her. Mark is finally able to appeal to her through her herd-like mentality, and they confess that yes, they know her. They haven't seen her in a while and assume that she was retired, just like they were told. And before they are sent back, Mark and Helly are asked to reveal their midsections to prove that they don't have pouches, because apparently that's a rumor that is everywhere. I'm skipping a lot here because really you just have to watch it and get the real vibe. Dylan is taken to have a visit with his Audi's wife, and it's a surreal experience for the both of them. As great as it is for Dylan to see pictures of his kids and learn about his Audi, he's learning that his Audi is a disappointment to the people around him and just might be a fuck up. So very different from how Dylan envisions himself. Irving has a visit with Felicia at O&D and reminisces about Bert. Irving learns that the dark hallway that his Audi was painting is something called the exports hall, and is where O&D used to send their shipments, but they don't go there anymore. Irving asks if she remembers where it is. We get a brief view of Dylan's life as an Audi with his wife, where she's still working a night shift, even though he has that job, and leaving him to deal with the kids, but has to speak to him on a very basic level just to get him to do basic parental things. His Audi is truly a loser. Also on the outside, Natalie approaches Rickon, Mark's brother-in-law, the author, to discuss the possibility of making a version of his book that has been specifically retooled for innies. Lumen recognizes how influential Rickon's book was for Mark and the others, and so they want to capitalize on that. Rickon, seemingly only enamored with the possibility of acceptance and success, is all in. Mark's sister Devon isn't buying it and leaves. She goes and sees Mark, where they have this project going on. And this is where we learn where the title of the episode comes from, as Mark is trying to expose his eyes to so much light that the after image will linger in his vision for long enough that his innie will see the message written, which is, who is alive? This is an attempt to have a back and forth conversation with his inside self and clarify who he was talking about when he said she's alive. The after image would have to stay in his eyes for at least 2 minutes and 18 seconds. And right off the bat, I know that this is impossible and will cause serious eye damage. There is a fine line between an after image and permanent damage. When then we come back to the scene with Milch, which feels to me like something that's going to be very important. He's leaving the office, and at the end, it's the end of the day, and he looks at the image of Black Kier, but he doesn't look at it with that reverence anymore. There's something else going on. He covers it up and puts it back in this box and puts the box away high up in storage. And when I was watching this, I literally said out loud, oh, so he's still black. He's not going to be bought off that easy. There's a part of Milchik that's not a company man. And I'm starting to wonder about him, because I was thinking back to when Irving said that his inside self had gotten the message. I wondered when the message would have gotten to Irving. And the only thing I could think of was when Milchik sent the painting to Irving's printer, and Irving saw it, and that got him thinking, and then he went to O&D and asked about it. Milchik and Cobel referred to that as a 266, I think. And though he covered his tracks pretty well, I'm now wondering if Milchik is not the man we thought he was, in a good way. Cobel comes back to Lumen and meets Helena again, giving her a list of demands in order for her to come back, one of which is throwing Milchik under the bus. Helena has her own chess game going with Cobel and assures Cobel that she doesn't have the upper hand that she thinks she does. Helena gets Natalie on the phone and arranges a meeting with the board immediately, but something about the situation doesn't ring true to Cobel, and so she leaves. That was not part of the plan, and Helena seems genuinely distressed by it. To close out the episode, things start moving really quickly. Mark tries to burn the image into his eyes, but is stopped by the doctor who had worked on his friend Petey. She explains that it won't work, and the only way to get a message to any Mark is to try reintegration like Petey had done. She says that she has improved her technique and can do it better now. She confirms with Mark that his wife is alive, and that's enough to change his mind about reintegration. He immediately says, yes, do it. I want to see my wife. Next thing we know, they're in Mark's basement, hooked up to a bunch of wires, and she is reintegrating him. End of episode. So look, I knew this would happen. I think we all knew that it would happen, but I did not think that Mark would be getting reintegrated at episode 3. This is going to be wild. The back and forth editing of Innie and Outie Mark is reminiscent of the opening credits, and I wonder how they're going to be demonstrating the experience of living with reintegration. Will they have scenes of Mark conversing with himself like Gollum, have face-to-face discussions in some other virtual spot? They're obviously playing with the way this show is filmed, the way scenes are filmed this season, with the choppy heist-style editing that was earlier in the episode. They could probably flex with a whole new style when it comes to reintegration. We'll see. I'm pretty much convinced that Helly is a mole at this point, and I'm starting to think Milch is one as well. What about you? I don't want this video to be too long, so tell me what your thoughts on the episode. Do you trust Milch? Is he possibly a good guy? What's going on with Helly? Do you have thoughts on what is going to happen with Cobel, where she's going to play in on all this? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see more, please like, subscribe, do the bell thing, and I will see you next week with episode 4. Take care. Peace.